We are live.
And we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Russell Pierce Raw Review. I'm your host, Ibu of Russell Pierce, better known to many of you guys as Back of Hangman. I'm joined today, as usual, by my co-host, Rob, formerly of the Island of Relevancy, currently unaffiliated to any island or organization. As you can tell, I'm still a little under the weather. And by little, I mean very. I'm very sick. Just trying to get better day by day. I'm trying to get my health back to normal, get my energy levels back to normal. It's tough because sometimes you experience setbacks, Rob. Sometimes you experience things that are damaging to your health, and it's tough to be healthy. It's tough to have a peace of mind. It's tough to have mental clarity. It's tough to, just not have respiratory issues. When you watch shows like last night's Raw that ended the way that it ended.
Yes.
We're going to talk about last night's episode of Monday Night Raw. It was the May 27th, 2024 edition of Monday Night Raw. And this show closed with Becky Lynch's final Raw match under her current contract because her deal is set to expire on June 1st, which is in a couple of days. And she main evented this show against Liv Morgan in a steel cage match, Escape the Cage Rules. And this match is for the Women's World Championship. Liv Morgan won the championship at King and Queen of the Ring. And she faced Becky in a rematch here tonight, a match that Liv herself claimed she wanted to win straight up to prove that she was better than Becky. This match main evented Monday Night Raw. And ultimately, Liv Morgan retained her championship because she escaped the cage. Becky Lynch was looking like she was going to escape first. She got hit in the head with the door because Braun Strowman knocked JD McDonagh into the door.
Yes, he did.
Liv Morgan escapes the cage after maybe, a 15-minute main event, most of which eaten up by commercials. And ultimately, Liv Morgan walks away up to the ramp. She is celebrating. She's actually kind of crying and limping at first and crawling on the floor. She runs up the ramp. She stares at Dominik. It's ambiguous whether they're on the same side, and then she kisses Dominik. This is your ending of Monday Night Raw. And I'll be honest, I'll come out and say it. I think I think this main event was damaging to my brain chemistry. Because I try to be a reasonable man. I really, really try to understand people's perspectives. I try to understand people's points of views. I try to be diplomatic. I try to be somebody that's open-minded. And I've been very open-minded and very, in my opinions, reasonable with regards to Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan's a performer that her popularity has gone up and down, but generally speaking, she's very well liked on social media. She's somebody that has very ardent and passionate support from her fans. And she's somebody that when she's not in the spotlight, her fans are advocating for her to be in the spotlight, Rob. If you remember during WrestleMania season, Liv Morgan was not getting a championship match. And they were very upset about this. They wanted her to be inserted in the Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley match. They wanted her involved in all of that stuff.
Yes.
But Liv Morgan is currently in the mix. And she's now main eventing TVs. And all I can tell you about is the results. And this was the worst TV main event of the year. Note, I didn't say worst Raw main event of the year. I didn't say worst SmackDown main event of the year. I didn't say worst WWE TV main event of the year. This was the worst wrestling TV main event of the year. You'd be hard-pressed to find me a wrestling television show, major wrestling television show that's on national television with a worse main event than this. I actively challenge you to find me one that was worse than this. This match was, I'm not going to mince words. This match was just really fucking bad. And that's even before the chicanery that followed and closed the show. Because I'm sure some people think that what I'm up in arms about is the shenanigans and the extra stuff and the Braun Strowman choo-choo train and The Dominik makeout, like I don't even care about that. I don't give a shit. They can make out all they want. I thought it was kind of funny. I missed that, by the way, folks. If you were watching the show on the United States broadcast on USA Network, you didn't see the big angle that they were building to for over a fucking month. You did not see Dominik Mysterio kissing Liv Morgan. It cut off with them staring because they couldn't properly time the show out, and that awful main event went overtime. But what I was getting at is that the match itself prior to this was awful. Becky Lynch looked like she'd rather be anywhere else than in that ring. Massive boo-boo face, last day of her deal, and she just didn't have it. And you know she didn't have it because the last steel cage match she had with Trish Stratus, who's 47, was fucking great. This was a far cry from great. This match was really bad. It had no heat, no life, escaped the cage rules. I criticized Rob on Twitter. I came back to Twitter because this I felt so strongly about this. I said that this needs to be the last ever escape the cage match we get in North American pro wrestling.
Yes.
I've had enough. It went from the heel tries to get out and the face stops him to now they're both racing to get out of the door rather than beating each other. This is supposed to be a championship match. And I tweeted
this is supposed to be a fight.
It's supposed to be a fight. And I tweeted this and people were like, I saw someone going like, man, you're fucking dumbass, this and that, just the typical stuff, right? And to anybody that like loves this type of format, I say to you, why don't you just watch like a game show or something? Why don't you look up those? They have those kind of quirky Japanese game shows where people have to fit in through holes and shit. They have there was a show back when I was a kid called Nickelodeon Double Dare. I think that's what it was called. Where basically people had to do fucking like exercises and shit. There's plenty of shows and content where you can see people racing, jumping, and running out of things.
You had that. We had Hole in the Wall.
No. Yeah, that's kind of what I was alluding to with the Japanese shows, but they brought it to the United States. Brother, go watch Ninja Warrior if you want to see people racing through contraptions and things like that. When I watch wrestling and I watch championship wrestling and main event wrestling with two wrestlers fighting for a big prize, what I don't want to see them doing is non-violently running and racing each other out of a door. Yes. This is quite literally the opposite of the wrestling I want to watch. TM. It's quite. What's up? Go ahead, Rob.
This concept is quite literally the opposite of what the concept of the cage match was brought into pro wrestling for.
Yes.
The cage match was brought into pro wrestling to basically, if you have, let's say, Liv Morgan had a group of clit riders, right? Like a group of dick riders that she just ran around with, right? Because she's a heel. This concept was made so that they can keep the fighting in, or every time they tried to fight, Liv Morgan just ran away. This concept was brought to professional wrestling for that reason, to keep the fighting in the cage. When you go look to watch cage matches dating back to the 70s and the 80s, up until like the 90s, there really were no escape the cage matches. In some states, you basically got not like there was
the WWF did it, but So here's the deal. Rob. The WWF did it in the 70s and early 80s with Bruno Sammartino, and I'm gonna give you guys a history lesson. Do you know how those were executed? Bruno would beat the fucking dog shit out of his opponent with his bare knuckles and walk out the cage after he's ravaged him so bad that he couldn't stand back up.
Yes.
That was almost a gimmick to get him over. That he would beat the fuck out of you and walk away.
That's what he did to Stan Hansen after Stan Hansen broke his neck.
Yes. Now, in the Hogan era, Hogan's programs would usually come in sets of threes, and Hogan doesn't job. So what would they do to kind of bridge the storyline out? Well, they'll do a steel cage match at a house show in the second match, and the heel interferences would happen with the managers, and the heel would escape and stuff like that. And like that's kind of hokey, but again, it's still the typical psychology was heel tries to run away, Hogan fights them off, then they do essentially that non-finish to build to the third match. But we're now at a point where, like I just said, it's the face and the heel trying to run away. I can live without these matches in general because, frankly, Rob, if they're not going to bleed, if they're not going to be physical, if they're not going to have a fight in there, what am I doing? You know, the fans didn't make any noise. Somebody told me that this match was hot and exciting, and I tweeted at them that I could hear a fart from the front row. It was so fucking quiet in this building, and this was a building that was red hot right in the previous segment for Otis's angle, where he was teasing turning on Chad Gable. So here's the bottom line, Rob. This is a far cry and the complete opposite of what we got from Gunther versus Randy Orton. Two absolute professional athletes at the top of their game, treating this like a sport for the richest prize. And that's what I want out of my championship pro wrestling. So I'll be honest with you. I thought this match was disgraceful from an effort standpoint. I thought the wrestling was fucking awful. I thought there was no heat in the building. I thought the ending felt like Looney Tunes. And the big angle that they were building to wasn't even aired on TV because they were unable to time this properly. And so that's on the company. That honestly is like a level of incompetency that's like unfathomable for WWE in 2024. So the last half hour of the show was a pile of fucking shit. And taking a step back and speaking a little bit more broadly, great wrestlers need to hold championships, because when you put championships on talent that aren't great, it's going to get exposed inevitably. And I'm patient, I'm understanding, I'm all the things you want to say about this, but Liv Morgan is not a world championship level wrestler. That's really just what this boils down to, in my opinion. And they're going to do all they can to dress this up and mask it, and they'll do some Dom shenanigans, and I'll probably laugh at some of it. And we'll see where the story goes and until Rhea Ripley comes back. But the actual truth of the matter is, Rob, there is greatness in this women's division, and we saw it during the Women's Queen of the Ring, specifically from a woman by the name of Io Sky. And ultimately, I get that you can't just put the belts on all of everybody's favorites and this and that, but we are shown who's actually special on this roster. And so it makes it doubly frustrating when the people that get the championships are just so inferior. But we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. 13 minutes in. This is the Wrestle Purist Raw review, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Please like the video, comment, subscribe, and send us super chats to your opinions and takes on anything that we've been talking about or anything on this Raw episode. I had to open with that because I just had to get it out of the way.
The open burying Liv Morgan. Jesus Christ.
I just had to do what I had to do. And I want to make this very clear. It's not personal. I don't feel personal animosity towards any of these people. This is not an ad hominem attack. I'm not attacking anybody's character. I get paid to review wrestling television. And I think I owe it to the audience, whether they agree with me or not, to be honest with them. And all I can do is be honest and transparent about how I took what I watched yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the Raw show I thought was all right. It was a bit flat in places, and I would have done certain things differently. But I actually didn't hate it. It was just kind of a whatever show. Clearly, the crew was Saudi jet lagged. I could do without watching Carlito, you know. But the rest of the show is okay. We'll get into that shortly. But again, guys, please like the video, comment, send super chats, give us your opinions. And I'm going to stop ranting, and I'm going to turn this now to you, Rob, and ask you, 14 minutes in, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Last night was I liked last night's show. My issue with it was I just was not invested in the main event. There was two things I was not invested in. I was just not invested in the main event. It was another match that I just cannot think of. That's not on the top of my head. But I just wasn't invested in two things. And listen, it's not even. I don't even think it was just like Liv Morgan is a bad wrestler. I think it's just like the vibes were off. Like everything was just off. Becky seemed like you said, Becky wasn't trying. She didn't seem like she wanted to be there. I don't like this new Liv Morgan at all. I don't. It's not even the professional wrestling. It's really just a new character, to be quite frank. And I just think everything from all sides just went wrong with that match last night.
Yeah, Yeah,
I'm just not. I'm not into this whole whatever they got going on. I'll be into the Judgment Day shit that she's gonna start doing because at least it'll put something around her. But like I'm just not the heel character I'm just not invested in right now. I just don't get it.
I don't
I
think
get
she
it.
even.
I get it's her revenge tour, but and I understand that. But I wish when she cut promos, it was more her promos about her. It's kind of my issue with Jey Uso, which I know I repeat every time I'm here every
There's no
week.
depth.
It's there's no depth to the promos that these
Yeah,
people cut. It's like nowadays in WWE. Back in the day, you had Austin Rock, all the Triple H. Austin had Hell Yeah and all his other catchphrases. The Rock had his catchphrases. Triple H had it's I'm that damn good in his catchphrases. All these people had their catchphrases, but they didn't say their catchphrases 100 times every promo. And that's the problem with today's promos, at least now in WWE with some of these people, is that their promos are structured around their catchphrase instead of being structured around what they're doing and ending it off with a catchphrase. It's like Liv Morgan's whole promo is centered around this being her whole her revenge tour. That's fine. I don't need to hear it 50 times a promo. I just don't. It seems like
wait.
she's explaining me the origin story of her revenge tour every time she touches a microphone, and I'm just like, bro, I don't need to hear that every week.
One of my biggest takeaways, Rob, is that because WWE's current creative system has been successful, it's led to some cockiness. What I mean by that is they've been able to successfully get over talent that to a level above their actual ability. Allow me to explain. Tama Tonga was a good hand in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah,
He was not a bad wrestler. He was a mid-card good hand. And they have, by sliding him in the bloodline and doing it the way they've done it, Tama Tonga is a major player. LA Knight, for years, was Eli Drake. He was a perennial Impact guy,
in fact,
NWA.
shout out a former Global Force Wrestling world champion.
He is an absolute star now. Who would have thought Eli Drake would be a star in WWE? Damian Priest was Punishment Martinez in Ring of Honor. He was there the same time that the Young Bucks were there.
Yes,
The Briscoe brothers were there.
yes,
Cody Rhodes was there. That Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly were there. And he was nowhere near any of those guys on the totem pole. He was Punishment Martinez, a guy on the roster. And WWE have turned Punishment Martinez into a major big-time player. You look up and down, there are a lot of success projects like this, of people that when you just look at them as a base talent, you're like, oh, they're okay. And it's like, wow, WWE got this out of them. And I think because of it, they almost have so much faith in their system that they think they could do this with anybody. But the truth is, ultimately, some of these people are what they are and they regress to the mean. And you can't continue to build your fortress up with these types of cards. And you have to just let some mid people be in mid spots.
yes.
When you look at the current slot of champions in this promotion, way too many subpar wrestlers are holding championships. It's one thing when it's a few of them. Way too many of them are holding championships. You go down the line. Awesome Truth, Liv Morgan, uh, Damian Priest, who I don't even hate Damian Priest. I just think world championship is an overshooting. But
Yes.
up and down the roster, you're seeing this pattern, right? And so I say all this to say, at some point that bubble is going to burst. You can't put people in major spots expecting major production and expect it to happen all the time. And that's what we saw in the main event last week. You know, Liv Morgan is not on the level of Io Sky or Becky Lynch. You know, Damian Priest is not on the level of Sami Zayn or Cody Rhodes. You know,
Yeah.
and that's really just the bottom line here. It's just the bottom line. It was the same thing with Jey Uso, and I was pointing that out with him at the same time too. He's not a show opening, show closing act. He's just not at that level, and so you're not going to get Cody Rhodes or Sami Zayn level production from him.
He's not going to
So
get that level of production unless you get him. It's a thing with these wrestlers is you're not going to get something from them like that. Like besides Becky last night, unless you get them with somebody who has experience being in that sort of position. When you put them against especially when you put them against people that are inexperienced in that position, like putting Damian Priest up against Jey Uso, or putting Jey Uso up against Damian Priest, they're both inexperienced with being in the main event. I don't care how many Raws they've main event. That's not the main event. Becky Lynch has main evented. All those people that you mentioned have main evented pay-per-views and stuff like that. It's totally different.
I'll say this, Rob. The best course of action for the foreseeable future would live. The best course of action to produce decent TV out of what's happening right now is to just basically lean into the Liv Dom stuff, do your skits about it, and play around with all of that. But even then, right? You know what you'd be doing, Rob? You're essentially hiding her. You're protecting her. You're trying to cover up and put lipstick on a pig. And that's my point, is you can't keep having to do that with all of these champions. Why don't you just simply put them on really great talent that you can trust to put in major spots? You don't have to dress up Sami Zayn and hide him and put him in certain situations where he doesn't expose A, B, and C. No, you can put Sami in any type of segment and notice how well he does. Opening promo, welcoming people to Monday Night Raw. He can do that. Main event wrestling match. Did you see the match in Montreal against Chad Gable? Fucking melodramatic sports entertainment segment last night. Look at that shit. Look at the shit he produced there. He's doing it again. He made magic with the bloodline, and he's pulling a rabbit out of a hat, doing it again with the Alpha Academy. That's what a generational talent does. Because when you're special, when you're actually great, you produce in every situation. You don't have to be stuck in a pre-tape. You don't have to be, protected and scripted in a short backstage segment. You don't have to be spoken for by somebody else. You don't have to be put in a gimmicky act, or you don't maybe expose aspects of yourself that aren't the best. When you're great, you don't have to worry about that. You can just do everything. If they need you to shoot a 3, get a rebound, play defense, you can do all of those things. That's why I continue to advocate, just put championships on people that are great. Bottom line, you don't have to worry about hiding and protecting Cody Rhodes because he can do it all on your TV. Stop pushing mediocrity, because you run into these issues and it hamstrings your television. That's the bottom line. You run into the issue of, we can't put her in the main event, it's going to fucking suck. Then don't put people like that in main events. Don't put them in big spots. Let's get into the super chats, Rob.
All right. First super chat. Hush 199. Liv Morgan Bin Laden. Come on, guys. Liv Morgan Bin Laden is really over. Come on, guys. It's not that.
She's not Bin Laden. She's just pushed above where she should be. That's really just all it is.
Come on, guys.
She was totally fine tagging with Raquel Rodriguez in 6-minute matches. There was nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
She's doing her thing.
No, some people don't need to be main characters. If you watched X-Men 97, bro, same thing there.
Such a good show.
They were trying to push Roberto. Niggas don't want to see
Roberto.
No
one, bro. No one was trying to believe in Roberto, bro.
Brother, nobody wants to see. Niggas just get a rebound, brother.
Yeah, bro. Yo, keep doing your thing. Keep doing your thing in the lower mid card.
We are here for Cyclops, Magneto, Wolverine.
Nigga, I'm trying to see Cyclops and Magneto go 30 in the main event, brother. And you're out here trying to push them in the upper mid card. No, we're not trying to see that.
We don't care.
We're not trying to see that. It's not something we're trying to see. Thank you for the super chat. Chi-Town Spurs, $5. She's one of their top merch people. That's what they value over everything, and that's what I was about to mention. I seen somebody arguing with someone else about it was something regarding AEW. No, I somebody posted something about Ricky Starks earlier, and I quote tweeted and I said they were like, Ricky Starks has had this much time out of action, and da 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 da. It's maddening. I said it's really not, because the last time he was on TV, he was the champion, and people were like having Jericho Oh, and I was like, unfortunately, guy, and this is what I wanted to say on Twitter, but I'll say it here. Unfortunately, business people who are dealing with business, they don't care about stuff like that. They don't care about the quality of television. They care about the quantity that the television is bringing in. If the TV is really bad, but it's bringing in heavy ratings and it's bringing in heavy amounts of fucking money, then they don't give a fuck about it. They don't care about that, and that's the problem. People, they don't care that Twitter is complaining about Liv Morgan's matches. They give a fuck that Liv Morgan is selling so much merch.
What kills me though is like it's not like she's walking out there and getting these gigantic reactions, and I will not be gaslit into believing so. Like it's not a situation, Rob, where like she's walking out there and she's getting the LA Knight pop or the Randy Orton pop. That doesn't exist. You want to compare how over she is to like Rhea Ripley? Like it doesn't even compare. You know, I'm not saying that her popularity is purely a construct of social media, but like people would have you believing the way they talk about her that she walks out there and they're reacting to her like she's God. You know, like even Jey Uso, who I have issues with, right? They love that guy.
Yeah, I like even though you could sit here and be like, I don't want this, you could also be like, I understand this.
Yeah, I have to begrudgingly simply just accept that. Well, he is over as fuck.
And he is selling more merch than any top star in the company right now. As of yesterday, he is selling more merch than Punk, Roman, and a few other guys that are top guys. He's selling more merch than the Universal Champion right now.
Right. Thank you, Chi-Town, for the $5 super chat. We appreciate you very much. Do we have any other super chats, Robert?
Yeah.
Keep them coming, guys. Keep them coming.
I'm gonna read this one while I go find that other one. Jay Stone, $10. Liv being champ feels the same as Awesome Truth being champs. It's like Triple H just threw their fan bases a bone. I never saw Liv as a main champ. Just better when she's chasing the belt. The thing is, it's like the same thing we just said. At least Awesome Truth got one of the loudest reactions at WrestleMania, got one of the loudest reactions at the Royal Rumble, and got one of the one of the loudest reactions at every arena they're in. So I could understand that, even though I dislike it. You know,
but even with them, Rob, I'm not trying to see them on my show.
I'm not trying to see them.
And if you've noticed, they have made an adjustment when it comes to how they feature them, because at some point in like early in the Mania season, these motherfuckers were all over my goddamn show, and now they've done what I said, which is R-Truth comedy is fine in bits and pieces. R-Truth comedy is fine as quick little respites. It's like short-term levity in between big things on the show. And now they're just literally pre-tapes. They exist as guys that are in pre-tapes and backstage segments, and that's what the Awesome Truth should be. A minute, a little jokey joke, and you move the fuck on. That's what they should do with them.
Nah,
but again,
we gotta have 5-minute segments where they're actively making jokes in the ring that aren't popping anybody.
That post-Mania segment where they were in the ring with Hunter doing really bad comedy was fucking terrible. And Hunter knew it too. You saw it in his face. And that's why
he's like, all right, bro, I gotta get out of here.
And that's why he didn't do a live promo segment with them again since that point. And so now they're hidden in these things. But again, it speaks to my earlier point. They're doing that with the people that hold the tag team championships. I'd rather the tag champs be an act that can open and close shows. That's what they did for a year and a half, Rob. The Usos were a main event act. Damian Priest and Finn Balor were opening and closing shows. Remember when people were bitching about the Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn matches with Judgment Day? Those matches were fucking great. Those were literally the best Raw main events in years. Those guys were tearing the house down every week. KO and Sami against variations of the Judgment Day. And you know what? That's a main event act. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn with your tag belts. You know why? Kevin Owens could promo. Sami could promo. Sami can make you laugh. Sami can make you cry. Sami can make you fucking fear for his life. Sami can fucking engage you in a main event match and have a great match. So can Kevin Owens. They can open the show. They can end the show. They can run out and do babyface saves and angles. They're great at angles. They can brawl. They can wrestle. They can do it all. That's what main event wrestlers do. That's a main event act. That's what you put your tag titles on. Because you know what happens? You end up elevating those championships. when you put them on Miz and R-Truth, this is what you get. You either have to hide them or you have to devote way too much of your TV time to mediocrity. And they knew that was mediocrity. Enough of this. Enough of this. Stop putting enough of this.
It's enough of that shit, bro. That's what I keep saying, bro. Like, bro, y'all need to put people in positions that to succeed, bro. Because this shit not working. This shit is not working. Thinking for the super. That's like, imagine if they threw who's a guy on SmackDown that hasn't really been in a main event situation yet.
Who has not been in the main event situation yet on SmackDown?
Yeah, like imagine if for Cody's first fucking title, and I like the guy. But imagine if for Cody's first feud they threw a fucking Grayson Waller at him, who's never been evented
that's another
anything.
One. Grayson right now works because he is exactly where he needs to be. Grayson Waller is a mid-card heel tagging with another mid-card heel.
And the other tag team champions.
And here's the thing. That's not super ideal. That's nowhere near as bad as the Awesome Truth, in my opinion.
Because they're like decent. So
they're okay, and they can work with other babyface teams. They make the other teams look good. You know, they bump and feed and all that type of shit, and they're just being jackasses in a tag team. Like, that's okay. They're mid-carders pushed at a mid-card level. You know, you're not being forced and subjected to long opening segments and long main events with A-Town Down Under. Jay Stone, thank you so much for your super chat. We really appreciate you.
All right, thank you for the super chat. All right, this is the one that I almost missed. Hush 199. Damian Priest stinks, Liv stinks, Miz Truth stinks.
Miz Truth stinks. Liv Morgan is overpushed, or she just doesn't warrant the role she's in, and I don't think she's that good of a wrestler. Damian Priest, another case. Look, man, I respect his come up. I don't think he's a bad wrestler. He had a good 2023. He's not a world heavyweight champion, and I think if he loses at Clash of the Castle, that would be to the benefit of every person involved.
His world heavyweight title reign is very much a clear. He's here to hold the place for McIntyre to basically beat him at Clash.
Yeah, I really hope they don't do because it feels like they're gonna. I hope Punk doesn't cost Drew. I hope Drew just wins the belt.
Yeah,
I really hope.
And if they want to do Punk a Punk appearance, they could do a Punk appearance afterwards. He could come out and stare down with him afterwards if that's what they want to do. But I don't want to see Punk costing him again because we've done that more than a few times.
I'd rather Punk play a mind game and help Drew. I'd rather him help Drew because he should be like, "Yo, I helped you because I wanna because your success is tied to me anyway. Everything you've done in this last year flourishing is because of me. I just helped you win a fucking belt, and I want you to live with that. I want you to live with the fact that your big moment in your hometown is because of the guy you hate so much, and that's me. And guess what? I helped you because I'm going to be the one to fucking beat you for that thing. I don't want to beat anybody else. I'm medically cleared, and I'm going to go for you, and I'm doing it at Money in the Bank or whatever you want to do. Something like that. It could make sense. Rather than just hee, I hate you, haha, lol, and now you lost again. I think it'd fuck with Drew Psyche even more if his biggest moment of his life was because of CM Punk. So that's just my pitch.
All righty, thank you for the super chat. Kale, 20 Mexican pesos. Ew, why are you yelling at me?
I don't know, Kale. I don't know. I'm sorry, Kale. Come here, Kale. I'm sorry, Kale.
Fuck. Anyway, next super chat on the channel, Jumanji Hunter, $2. No hoops last night. Gable / Braun, the only good segments.
Wasn't the Pacer game on? Even though
exactly,
that
no
basically
hoops.
is no hoops.
No hoops was on.
Fuck the Indiana Pacers. Chad Gable is sensational, and that segment was really, really, really good. Bron Breakker is special. He interrupted Ilya Dragunov versus Ricochet, which was a good match, and he interrupted that. He's a fucking beast. He's a monster. That's a guy. If they wanted to spam a motherfucker on the show that I like, if you want to, I could have done with 3 more Bron Breakkers.
That's the problem, bro. They spam. That's the problem, bro. They spam people that you like don't like, and they like
You got like
sporadically put on people that you actually like. So you only see Ilya Dragunov and Ricochet 2 times a show probably. But you'll see fucking Awesome Truth, or you'll fucking see Liv Morgan Revenge Tour promo fucking 6 times a show. It's like, bro, what the fuck?
Yeah, absolutely. Someone in the comments said Ibu's got COVID. He's going crazy. Factual.
You might
Right,
actually have COVID.
Oh, we got more super chats. Let's keep going.
You might actually have the virus. Black Yakuza 94, $5. Ibu just isn't a fan of sports entertainment. Sports entertainment will always be better than Mo Real grabs, and that's why Jay should be champ.
Here's the thing. I know he's a kind of joking, but I'll say this: like, obviously, I lean a certain direction, but I know that this is still WWE, and that's why, for example, I love the Chad Gable segment. And Rob, that was very sports entertainment. That was sports entertainment. And that was good sports entertainment. It was very much that like bloodline style cinema, as they say.
But even then, that's not even sports entertainment.
They've
been doing shit like that for ages. They've been doing shit like that for ages, even when it wasn't called sports entertainment, bro. It's called the storyline. The storyline is that Chad Gable is basically trying to whip them niggas into shape. And since he can't whip Otis into shape of what's that shit called? Figuratively, he's gonna whip Otis into shape literally.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, the execution and presentation of it is very much in like that WWE way. And I had no problem with it. I had no problem with it. I thought the segment was very compelling, very emotionally resonant. And there's a reason why the crowd got so into that compared to like a lot of this show, because this crowd was pretty fucking ass. But they were really into Otis' stuff. They wanted to see him turn. They felt bad for the big man. And I'll tell you what, when it comes to sports entertainment, Liv kissing Dominik, I don't have an issue with that. I thought that was kind of amusing. That should have ended the show, which it was intended to, but they missed their fucking cue. My issue with the main event wasn't even the sports entertainment aspect. I just thought the match was bad, and I'm sick of people that don't deserve to be in main event spots being in main event spots.
I mean, at least that's gonna probably make a little bit more people tune in next week. That aspect of the show, of them missing the kiss, because the people say WWE never do cliffhangers. So honest, the Sultan, 199. I shouldn't feel so meh on a show with hoopers. That's the thing. Is like they have so many good professional wrestlers that they're just not using, and they're refusing to use, and I just don't understand it. But
yeah,
I want to cut them and let them go other places.
Yeah, that's another thing is just I thought the King of the Ring shows were so good in the sense that you had matches that got proper time and they're treated with reverence and they're treated like the results mattered, and you had stories coming out of it and so on and so forth. And what you want to do is continue that trend even with the tournament not being there.
Bro, you can have stories where you have these wrestlers, right? Like, I'm not saying you should push Apollo Crews by any means. You could use Apollo Crews to in a match to further a storyline or something like around those means. You could have something happen before the match or after the match, but you have all these guys that you're just not using, and it doesn't make any sense. I'd rather see him wrestle than see somebody that's over that can't wrestle.
And I know you want to find a balance there, but yeah, man, I'd love to see a little bit more of the New Catch Republic. It appears that we've teased that direction this week, but I'd really like to get Dragon Lee going, because these people are spectacular. That's the bottom line. They're spectacular, and you'd rather just see them be spectacular than be pigeonholed in these very minimal roles underneath people that are just not clicking on the show. Thank you, Anas.
Alrighty. Do you want to keep going with super chats, or do you want to get into the show and finish the super chats later?
How many more do we have?
There's like 5 left.
All right, give me one and then I'll save the rest.
All right, Brainbuster 199. I don't watch Raw, just here to say I appreciate y'all. Thank you, Brainbuster.
Thank you, Brainbuster.
100%. Thank you. All right.
All right.
Do
oh
this.
My God.
Raw. Where was Raw last night, Ibu?
It was in Savannah, Georgia. Never go back. End Market Arena in Savannah, GA. We got a recap of the King of the Ring. I like the show, by the way. I thought 3 of the 5 matches on that show were great, but we get a recap, and then Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan are shown arriving into the ring. Mm-hmm. Ludwig Kaiser introduces the new King of the Ring, Gunther. Well-deserved. Gunther is the King of the Ring. He beat Randy Orton in controversial faction, but he did beat Randy Orton at the King of the Ring pay-per-view. And Gunther comes out. Gunther refuses to wear the crown because he's not a fucking child, and he holds the crown.
That's one aspect that I liked. I like that he did that on Sunday. I was beat.
Yeah. Gunther is holding the crown. He comes out in his suit. He won't wear it. He's not doing a shitty king gimmick. This is an accomplishment and an achievement for him. It's not.
Look at this. Look at him.
It's not a prop. It's not a gimmick. He's holding the crown because he achieved something by winning the tournament. He's going to raise it up. He's going to hold it and tuck it in on the side because, again, Gunther's an adult. But yeah, so Ludwig Kaiser introduces the new King of the Ring, Gunther. Gunther enters in a blue suit. He has the crown in his hands. The crowd chants, "You suck," and "We want Randy." They were really into Randy Orton on here. And Gunther said he beat Orton, was the rightful King of the Ring. He earned the opportunity to wrestle for the World Championship at SummerSlam. Gunther said that he admired Damian Priest. Wait, what? Sorry. So he said he admired Damian Priest the fact that he stepped up in the absence of Rhea Ripley. Gunther said he himself stepped up to raise the prestige of the Intercontinental Champion by becoming the greatest champion of all time. That's facts. He said he then raised the prestige of the King of the Ring tournament. He said that it lacked prestige, and then now he went on to say the world title also lacked prestige because the champion won it by taking a shortcut. All these things are true, Rob. The King of the Ring tournament fucking sucked the last couple of years. Gunther had one of the best performances in the tournament since Bret Hart, and he raised the prestige and the profile of the IC belt, and now he's going to look to do it for the World Championship. So Damian Priest comes out. He's flanked by Finn Balor and JD McDonagh. Priest called Gunther's crown adorable. He said that Gunther proved nothing because we all saw that he didn't beat Randy Orton. And he said, yeah, I cashed in the Money in the Bank, but that's how that works. And he said, I did it by winning. I got the briefcase by winning a ladder match. That's how that works. And I've worked for years. He offered to teach Gunther a lesson about the business if he was confused. And Gunther basically said, brother, I've been waiting for someone in this company to teach me anything about anything since I've debuted. And he basically said, like, yeah, I don't know much about business, but I could teach you about like this great sport. And so basically he's like, nigga, I'm a better wrestler than you. Which he is.
He basically said, well, you kind of suck, bro.
Literally, Gunther has not lied in this segment, and he doesn't lie in his promos. So Priest told him, I'm not sure you could teach me anything I don't already know. Drew McIntyre interrupts. The crowd chants for CM Punk. Drew McIntyre said that he told Gunther basically, brother, I'm going to be champion in less than 3 weeks. Gunther smiled and left the ring. He left it to Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. Priest told Drew, I'm not looking past you. And McIntyre warned him. He said, you're spreading yourself too thin, because here's the thing with Damian Priest. He has a lot of issues he's dealing with right now, whether it be the internal issues of the Judgment Day and, just the immediate matters he's dealing with. So Drew said that, the Judgment Day's been fucking up a lot, and they've gone to hell since Rhea Ripley left. This is true. They're currently entertaining Carlito. McIntyre said that he'd become a 4-time champion, and he said also that I was going to be the first UK wrestler to win a world title. He name dropped Fit Finlay and British Bulldog.
All WCW guys that never, and WWE guys that never won the World Heavyweight title.
Drew said that Priest was walking into a war zone in Scotland, and that the fans would break him mentally, and that McIntyre would take his title. So that's the funny thing here. Priest has been like a weird tweener on the TVs, but when he hits Scotland, he's going to be a heel in that building. So yeah, man, McIntyre just defended himself. They're kind of going back and forth, and then right before they were going to fight, Braun Strowman comes out to interrupt because he was scheduled to fight JD McDonagh. Before we talk about that match, what did you think of this opening segment, Rob? I thought like it was decent from the standpoint of establishing the premise of what the next few weeks of storytelling is going to be. It just wasn't it didn't click on the highest level because the truth is there was no clear-cut baby faces here.
Yes.
Gunther's a heel. Drew McIntyre's a heel. Damian Priest is like kind of a heel. That's kind of a tweener as well. And so it's like they're trading these verbal jabs, but like the fans don't really know what to do with any of this information that's being presented towards them. From the standpoint of establishing the premise of what's going to happen in these next few weeks, I thought it was solid. I didn't really have an issue with it, but long talking segments with no baby faces are just kind of tough. What did you think of this?
I enjoyed this promo segment from the sense of it was basically Gunther just talking and shit. I love watching Gunther talk because the way he carries himself and the way he laugh and like he's just laughing at everything. He's just like yo, because he really has that attitude that whenever he's like facing off against any wrestler, he just has that attitude of listen, I know that I'm better than you. I know that I'm one of the best wrestlers in the world. And I specifically know that I'm better than you because you treat this business like a joke. And that's what he tells everybody he goes up against. He's like, you treat it because everybody basically damn near at this point treats the business like it's a joke
Yeah,
in his eyes. And it's just like he's like, I'm not a social media guy. I don't post this, I don't do none of that shit. I'm here to beat you and I'm gonna win your world title. I'm gonna be a better world champion than you've been for at least the last 3 or 4 weeks now.
right.
That's what I enjoyed.
These types of segments, though, they work better if the last person coming out is a baby face to base. Like, man, fuck all of y'all, you know. And I
He's
guess the
just
only
and then Drew came out and everybody expected to talk shit with Gunther and with Gunther and Drew and Damian Priest and fucking Gunther was like, I'm not doing this. I'm
right.
knowing better than both of you.
I expect CM Punk to interrupt one of these next incoming promo trains. So basically, Braun Strowman comes out and he has a match with JD McDonagh. It was a 2 segment match. Ultimately, um, his knee got worked on, so that kind of bought JD McDonagh some time. Carlito tried to get involved. It did not help. Carlito's still trying to earn his way into the Judgment Day. Uh, Braun Strowman did a really cool, basically all around the world power slam and won the match after that. He was very over. The fans
Bro,
really
he
wanted him.
did a fucking tilt the world power slam that was fucking beast.
He had rocked. The crowd loves him. They're big fans of Braun Strowman. They always get into his matches. He's not in the form he was in right before his injury. I also think his look is worse. He has like this really shitty tuft of hair on his head. He needs to just shave and go bald again. His previous look was much cooler. But yeah, this was a fine match, and he got the win here. Uh, we went backstage, Rob. Oh, I forgot. I should mention. JD McDonagh hits Braun Strowman with a chair. Braun doesn't sell it, and the crowd chants "You fucked up," and he chases JD McDonagh. And this becomes a storyline throughout the night where he's trying to chase after JD. Um, yeah. Backstage, Liv Morgan was with Kathy Kelly, and she said he had no remorse over how she beat Becky Lynch to win the title, and she did not know how. She didn't know Dominik would be there. She said Lynch wanted to remind people that she had never beaten her one-on-one, and that was still true thanks to Dom. Morgan said that she would beat Lynch straight up in her first ever steel cage match, and she said, "The revenge tour is just getting started. Watch me." Okay. Damian Priest approached Finn Balor and
Do you
Carlito.
say anything? I'm sorry. Do you say anything else? Like
No,
holy
she
shit!
does
No,
not.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about her. Do you say
Yeah,
anything else?
no, she does not. Uh, Damian Priest approached Finn Balor and Carlito, and he told Balor that Strowman should have been handled tonight, and he told them to find JD McDonagh so they could regroup. Carlito and Balor hesitated to leave because they figured Strowman was chasing them down. Okay. Video recap of Braun Strowman killing Cale Dixon. That was sweet. We found earlier today that Ricochet was being checked by the medical staff. They cleared Ricochet. He was in pain with his ribs. Adam Pearce wasn't convinced, but he acknowledged that Ricochet was cleared. Ricochet wanted Bron Breakker in a match tonight, and Adam Pearce said that Braun was at home suspended. I was like, no, god damn it, that's the best part of the show. Um, but obviously, rules need to be rules, and they need to be enforced. And obviously, in kayfabe, Braun should be suspended for what he did. But yeah, Pierce said Braun was at home, suspended, and Ricochet would have to be patient. Ricochet wasn't happy. So Ilya Dragonov approached Ricochet and thanked him for pushing him out the way. Dragonov offered a rematch once Ricochet was ready. Ricochet wanted it tonight. Dragonov said, I fight people and break them, but I don't fight broken people. And Ricochet, this was kind of cringe. Ricochet, his delivery isn't very good. He said in the black set, hey, Ricochet ain't nothing but money. I ain't never been broke. Okay, buddy.
What a
Ricochet told
piece.
Pierce to make the match, and he did. So
You're so
tonight,
mad he's from Paducah, Kentucky.
Rob, you got Dragonov versus Ricochet. So here's the deal. This match starts, and Michael Cole remarks that the reason Braun was targeting Ilya Dragunov and Ricochet was that those guys were two roster members that were in the King of the Ring tournament, and Braun wasn't in it. So he thinks it's bullshit that they got it and he isn't, which is fair. So these guys have a match. They went 10:32, 2 segments. I thought this rocks. I thought, look, man, Ilya Dragunov is a great wrestler. Ricochet is a great wrestler. They had an awesome match with some great offense, some great back and forth moves. And the bottom line here is they went back and forth, and Ricochet countered Dragunov with the recoil. He went up for the shooting star press. He lands the shooting star press, but right as he popped up, that's the shot of the Orihara moonsault he hit off the turnbuckles to the outside. That was sick. But yeah, so this was good. Ilya Dragunov was about to eat a pinfall to Ricochet after the shooting star press, but out of fucking nowhere, Rob, Bron Breakker spears him in the middle of the air. Bron Breakker spears the dog shit out of Ricochet, rips his shirt off. He's going insane. Ah! The big barks in the crowd. Ilya Dragunov goes for a chop. It does nothing on Bron Breakker. Braun hits the ropes. Braun spears Ilya Dragunov. And then he's not supposed to be here, Rob. He's suspended. He's been sent home. But as he said a few weeks ago to Adam Pearce, you cannot control me. And so Adam Pearce is in his face like, what are you doing? Get out of the ring. I suspended you. Go home. Get out of here, Braun. What are you doing? And Bron Breakker doesn't give a shit. He's walking off like a bad motherfucker. And his patience is being tested, Rob. Pearce is getting right up in his grill. Braun is not feeling it. He's not feeling it. He's trying to be patient. And Braun walks off. You come back from commercial break. Kathy Kelly's backstage. And Braun is face to face, nose to nose with Adam Pearce, arguing because, again, he's been fined and suspended and he did not honor his punishment. Rob, what did you think of this whole piece of business, the match and the Bron Breakker angle?
I loved the match in the Bron Breakker angle. I'm hoping that they don't keep that like kind of scaling of Dragunov and Braun, where like if Dragunov and like Dragunov is a bitch compared to Braun, because I really don't want that to be the case. But other than that, I thought this whole piece of business was good. You got a good match with Ricochet and Ilya, a good rematch, and then we had a great angle with Braun basically being indestructible and not being able to be controlled by Adam Pearce. Where they go with this, I don't know. He was fined and suspended, so I don't know what's the next step you take. Do you just like next week you have to have him arrested? Because that would be pretty beast if they just was like, if Adam Pearce was just like, oh fuck this, I'm not dealing with this, I'm calling the police.
Yeah, did you see what Adam Pearce posted online, Rob?
What do you say?
A really good video. He basically was like, brother, Bron Breakker, I'm not trying to control you. I signed you to Raw because I see what everybody else sees. You are unbelievably talented. I don't want to control you. I want you to be a member of my roster. And he said, I don't want to control you. I want you to control yourself. I tried to treating you like a man. I fined you. I suspended you. And he said, I'm doubling your fine and doubling your suspension. And he basically said, like, this is really all I can say to you. Like, this is it. He's at wit's end. And a fan theory that people are saying, Rob, because Kiana James keeps trying to assist Adam Pearce in the background, and she's trying to like help him out and maybe come up with something. What if they use Dijak? What if Dijak becomes the bodyguard of Raw? Because it's getting out of control. There's fights happening here.
Yeah, that would be fucking that. Yeah, that would be kind of fire.
Rob,
That would kind of fire.
there's fights happening backstage. People are getting jumped by Carlito backstage. People are brawling all over the place. There's fights happening in the locker room. Bron Breakker's uncontrollable. Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser are fighting.
I forgot they had fought. They did.
Everywhere you look, one of the undercurrents happening on Raw is that there's this absolute chaos happening everywhere you turn. And very clearly, Adam Pearce is unable to corral his roster and control them. They don't respect his authority. Maybe they would respect it if he had an enforcer. And so if Dijak debuted as the enforcer, the warden of Monday Night Raw, the big dog guarding the yard, that would be a great slot for Dijak. And I hope
I
that's
think that would be a great way to bring him in if that's the reason why they haven't brought him in. What was that report that Fightful put out about him yesterday?
they put out a report yesterday.
Somebody put out a report on him about something yesterday. Let me go find it.
All I know is he wrestled on Main Event. He was at TV for the first time, and they're working on his deal. They're trying to get an extension. They're trying to get an extension. Hopefully, they get that thing wrapped up, and they follow through with this, because I think him as the warden controlling Monday Night Raw and essentially keeping people in check would be really cool.
All right, all right. I'm hoping that they sign him and that your idea does go through, because I would hate for him to like fall by the wayside, because he's really good, and he should have been on the main roster when he was called up a few years ago after the whole Retribution shit ended. He should have been, but he was just on Main Event for 3 years.
Yep.
But hopefully we get something with that soon.
Agreed. Miz and R-Truth were shown by an ice cream truck, and I'll be honest, I actually thought this was amusing. So basically, R-Truth worked inside the ice cream truck, and he gave Miz ice cream. What's it called? Miz wondered why Truth wanted him to wear white, and Truth wanted Miz to represent his flavor, and R-Truth said Miz was vanilla, and I think Miz says something along the lines like, "Well, then you're." And R-Truth, they interrupt him because basically the joke was essentially Miz is going to say that R-Truth is chocolate, and R-Truth is kind of like, "Hold on, what you talking about, bro?" And the New Day were like, "Yeah, what are we going to say, Miz?" And so Miz was like, "Oh, I was going to say strawberry. I was going to say strawberry." So there you go. They won a tag title shot, and they talked about it. And Karrion Kross comes by. And Kross said he wasn't there to challenge him to a match. He said, "I want to help Xavier Woods." And he wondered when Woods, he said, "When are you going to cut Kofi Kingston loose?" And he said, he asked Kofi, "When are you going to retire?" He said, and let Kofi King and let Xavier Woods shine. And Kross invited Woods to watch AOP in action tonight. Woods said that they would take on AOP next week. Kross said, he basically said he's happy to do this the hard way. I have a hot take, Rob. I have a hot take. I think all these interactions have been pretty good. It's really a shame. Like, Karrion Kross, to be completely honest with you, I think he's a fantastic speaker.
Yeah,
I think in all these segments,
great.
he's a really, really, really good speaker. Yeah. Among the best in the entire company, in my opinion. And all these interactions.
His YouTube promos are just him speaking nonsense, but it's like captivating.
Yeah, very captivating in that kind of Jake Roberts way. The online exclusives are great too. And I'll tell you what, this Xavier thing where he's kind of planting the seed of doubt is good. I like it because Xavier, like, it's not the bullshit wrestling thing where like because in theory, nothing should be able to come between Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. They've been together for so long, right? And one guy planting one little seed shouldn't be like, "Oh man, maybe I shouldn't trust my buddy," right? And in wrestling's past, they would do some stupid shit like Xavier bumps into Kofi in a match and is like, "Oh, I guess I don't like you anymore." But Xavier's saying, like, "Brother, why should I fucking leave Kofi King? Like, this is my guy, right? Like, you think I'm gonna leave the greatest tag team of all time?" So it's handled well, and I'm actually enjoying it. The problem, as always, is with Karrion Kross is that the bell has to ring, and he's like, here's the thing, he was a and then the bell rang guy in NXT. But if you go back, at least those matches were like okay. His in ring has gotten notably worse in the last 3 years, to the point where like he just can't even have like serviceable wrestling matches. So it's really a shame because I think he's a very good talker. And I do like the Authors of Pain, and I'm probably one of the last people that still enjoys them. But the bottom line is this could be a compelling storyline. It's just a shame that the payoffs to these storylines, they're gonna have a ceiling on them, because it's like at the very end of the day, Xavier Woods and or Kofi Kingston is going to have to face Karrion Kross, and based on what we've been shown with this evidence, how good could that possibly be? So I'd love to be wrong. I'd love to be proven wrong, but history is history, but that was that. And let's go. The next segment on this show, Rob, was the Authors of Pain versus the Creed Brothers. There was some decent action here. Julius Creed had a hot tag, but this was like way too short, and the Creeds lost. I almost have a feeling like they made this short because they were afraid one of these teams were going to kill the other team, because they're both notoriously clumsy and meat headed. But because the Creeds are going to go join Chad Gable inevitably, they're going to be in that mode where they can job a lot now because they're going to do that wrestling thing of like, I can lead you to success. So they got beat here in short fashion. Really not much to say about this. Do you have any opinions on AOP versus the Creeds, Rob?
No, not really. It was very clearly done for a reason where, or on an episode where all of Alpha Academy was getting bitched, and
Mm-hmm.
basically they showed the Creeds getting bitched so that Gable could be like, huh, maybe these guys need some coaching. So
Correct. And simultaneously heating up the Authors of Pain as they're going to be wrestling the New Day next week.
right.
Rey Mysterio cut a promo on Carlito, and he basically said that he welcomed him into the LWO with open arms, but his jealousy over Dragon Lee made him bitter, and his attack of Cruz del Toro was a mistake. Ray basically said, I'm going to kick your ass. Don't cross Rey Mysterio. Sheamus comes out. And the bottom line to get to the point of this was essentially that he was frustrated he wasn't at King of the Ring, and he wasn't at King of the Ring because Ludwig Kaiser attacked his knee in the first round. And that did happen. Sheamus was facing Gunther in the main event in that really awesome match that they had. And Kaiser attacked him while the ref was distracted, and he's been out since. And in the weeks he's been gone, Kaiser's been talking shit about him. So he's just kind of calling him out. Kaiser comes on the screen. He's talking shit. Sheamus basically doesn't want to hear it. He runs out, and then they have a brawl. The brawl spills from the backstage area right into the stage. And I'll tell you what, Rob, these guys know how to really have a good brawl. There's an art to it. You know what I mean? You can't pull the punches. You can't look like – you have to look like you're really actually trying to hurt him, you know? And this had that physicality and that, like, animosity. There's a sense of animosity.
They
So
said, well, I forget who said this. No, it was Nia Jax. She had an interview, and they asked her about the segment where she punched Becky Lynch, and they told her that the producers told her when they went out, all the women before they went out there, it was for the Survivor Series build. They said we wanted to look as real as possible. Say sorry later, and that's basically the attitude every wrestler should go out there and have when they go
yes,
through a
yes.
brawl.
It's
Is
like that.
listen, if I accidentally shoot on you, you just hit me back, and we will be like, we'll say sorry and have a beer later.
Yes, yes, because here's the thing. Otherwise, you get these like brawls in wrestling that look so bad. I'll never forget this. There was like a run out once that Sammy Guevara did, where he did like ground and pound punches, and they were so fake. Like he was like not even touching the dude, and it was like, man, this come on, man. Like you, when I see a wrestling brawl, I want you ripping the dude's clothes apart. I want your hair fucking getting all messed
Bro,
up.
the
I
the
want your
best
face
one
red.
was the one you showed me with Rick Rude and Sting after Sting
Oh
won.
my goodness, that was fucking amazing. That's what I'm talking about. I want it to look where the fans, the live fans, like it's when you're close to the fans, it needs to look like it's kind of real. So yeah, this was good. This is good physicality. I like this program because it actually got some time, and it's somebody for Sheamus to beat and someone for him to beat in a good match. So on multiple levels, next week's Raw is looking better. But yeah, so Kaiser versus Sheamus is set for next week. Um, Following this segment, we got a backstage segment. Lyra Valkyria was backstage in the locker room. She's a little sore with her bruised knees, and Becky Lynch comes down and sits next to her. Becky Lynch says to Lyra, "Saturday didn't go our way, but it's not all. It's not about winning all the time. It's about getting better every time. So we'll win or learn and keep winning and learning until it's time to walk away. Good luck tonight." And then she fist bumped Lyra. Lyra Valkyria went out there against Kairi Sane. Kairi looked all right. I was looking forward. I mean, yeah, I was relatively looking forward to this match, and it just didn't get enough time. This was something that, in the Queen of the Ring tournament would have gotten 2 segments and been pretty good. This just got like 4 minutes, and like it could have been a nice match, but it was just way too short to really materialize into anything. Lyra gets a flash pin on Kairi after Kairi misses the insane elbow, and Kairi loses. Lyra basically is treated. It's almost treated as like a slip on the banana peel win. But Kairi goes over here. What did you think of this match, Rob?
I thought this match was fine. It
Yeah,
was very much centered around getting Lyra Valkyria over, and I like the post match video clip they played of Io Shirai later on in the show being basically very angry and upset, and nobody in Damage Control can beat Lyra Valkyria. So
yeah. There's a lot of like debates over how good Kairi is currently, and I can't even co-sign any of them because I feel like I haven't personally been able to get a chance to evaluate where she is right now. I kind of want them to just give her like a 12-minute match just to see for yourself. Like if it sucks, and then you go back to like reducing the role. But I want to see them at least like give her that opportunity to so we could actually see what we're working with here. Because look, if she stinks it up, then okay, she's going to be the third member of the group for now. But if she does well, then you're like, oh, we could use her more in that type of capacity. So we'll see how that evolves over the coming weeks.
I don't think Damage Control should break up anytime soon. They just did a breakup angle where they kick somebody out. I think it should be Damage Control is weaker now that Asuka is out, and then they should wait for Asuka to come back whenever she does come back. But I don't
That's
think they
fine.
should break up.
Finn Balor and Carlito approached Damian Priest. Priest wondered where JD was and why Carlito was there. And Carlito said Priest told him to meet him in there. And he said, Priest said, I said, I wanted the Judgment Day to meet me. Priest told him to get ready for his match. Carlito asked if they were going to be out there, but Priest didn't answer. JD enters as Carlito left. Priest said, Priest basically was like, do I got to deal with Braun Strowman? And what's it called? And he also said, like, I know you're too busy talking with Liv Morgan. And JD looked kind of like guilty, and he quickly glances at Finn Balor, like, how does he know? Type shit, right? But McDonagh admits that he spoke with Morgan, but only to tell her that she wouldn't be champion long. Sure thing, buddy. Dominik finally enters the scene. He looks so disheveled and guilty. And Priest said he wanted to speak with him alone. And he said to him, he's like, what are you doing? And he admitted that he messed up. He said he spoke to Rhea Ripley and told her that he would fix it. Priest was glad he wasn't in Dom's shoes and said he better fix it. So Kairi and Io approached Io Sky in the back. Io's really pissed off. She's watching the monitor, and she basically just crashed out in her room and walked away. So she's not very happy right now. Rob, what preceded was a 2-segment, 11-minute Carlito match with Rey Mysterio. And I'll tell you what, this needs to go in Rey Mysterio's Hall of Fame catalog because this match didn't suck. Rey Mysterio had a match with Carlito that had feeling in life, and that's pretty impressive because Carlito has been really, 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 really bad in this return run. He hasn't had a single good performance since coming back, and he did just enough here. He gave Rey just enough to where Rey could carry this and turn it into something decent. I thought they had a pretty decent match here. Rey Mysterio was just ageless, eternal, special. He is so goddamn good, Rob. It's just an absolute joy and a treat to see
You
him.
guys notice?
What's up?
You see this? It's not the exact same gear here, but hold on, I'm about to put it on the screen. This is almost the same gear that he was wearing when they first faced each other on SmackDown. Oh, brother, what the fuck?
Rob thought he's gonna get in his bag. He didn't even have the picture
Oh,
ready.
brother. Oh, brother. No, I
Bit
copied
of a
the
no.
link and it didn't paste. What the fuck?
That's unfortunate. I'll take your word for it. Basically, they wore similar gear to their first encounter. I think what's funny is Rey carried the hell out of this dude, and I'm pretty sure Rey's older than Carlito. But you get what you get, I suppose. In the post match, he got attacked by Judgment Day, and Dragon Lee fought him off. Dragon Lee got mixed up with Finn Balor. That was promising. I want Dragon Lee versus Finn Balor on an upcoming Raw. Because of how Triple H books, we're 100% going to get that. And that's a match that I hope that they give them like 14 minutes and let them do their thing. Because I think that
No,
could be really awesome.
absolutely. Because I think they could. I think they could absolutely have a
They
banger
would
match,
have a
especially in the new regime.
They would have a terrific match. Finn Balor had great chemistry with Rey Mysterio in their matches last year. So Dragon Lee would do awesome work with Finn Balor. Dragon Lee's going to put Finn Balor to a table on this show. He's going to put him to a table. He got crotched by Carlito, and then Damian Priest ran out to clean up the mess. There we go. Damian Priest went out to clean up the mess with Dragon Lee, and he gave him a razor's edge. after Dragon Lee was kind of cleaning house, being a house of fire. And Priest looked really annoyed that he had to get involved with this. Like, he's looking back at the other guys like, you fucking losers.
Suck.
Rey Mysterio tried to get Priest up for a 619. He could not do so. He got hit with a super kick. And
It was a sour top heaven.
yes. And next week on Raw, Damian Priest versus Rey Mysterio. I think that could be pretty decent because Rey Mysterio is awesome. I feel like they may have wrestled once. I don't remember how good that was. But again, Rey Mysterio is just spectacular. So that'll be pretty good. That'll be pretty good. So that was that. Following this match, Rob, Chad Gable was backstage, and he basically was just berating Akira Tozawa for not accompanying him to Saturday's pay-per-view. And he just told Otis, like, listen, bro, you better, I'm giving you one last chance. You better fucking win tonight. Because Otis was scheduled to face Bronson Reed. Braun Strowman continues his Looney Tunes-like march through the backstage area looking for JD McDonagh. So, Bronson Reed versus Otis. 4 minutes. Otis was very over. Otis teased doing the worm. The crowd really wanted him to do the worm. Gable would not allow him to do the worm. Bronson Reed gets him with a super kick and a splash. Bronson Reed wins convincingly. Otis walks away in shame. Chad Gable says, nah, fuck that. We're going to address this all right now. I want everybody in the Alpha Academy in the ring. You go to commercial, come back. It's the Alpha Academy meeting. And business picks up right here, Rob, because here's the deal. Gable wondered what it would take to get through to Otis. Gable said Otis lacked discipline, so he would show him discipline in front of everybody. He's going to publicly shame him. Gable removes his belt and tells Otis, grab the rope. Otis slowly makes his way to the ropes with his back turned to Gable. And Gable told Maxine and Tozawa, you have to watch. He pulls the belt out and he says, I want you to know this hurts me more than it's going to hurt you. He cocks the belt back. He's about to whip the dog shit out of Otis. And then Sami Zayn's theme song hits. Oh, no, not Sami. I'm sorry. No. Maxine stopped him. Maxine grabs the arm. And the crowd is doing big yes chants. Chad is shocked. And Chad was yelling at her and berating her. And he said, get the hell out of the ring. And so she is walking away. And that's when Sami Zayn interrupts and intercepts and talks to Maxine. He checks on Maxine. And then he walks into the ring, and then, that was when Maxine interrupted, grabbed the thing. So here's what happens next. Sami Zayn tells Chad Gable that he wasn't tough. He said, you're a weak little man, and you manipulated your way into several opportunities for the Intercontinental Championship, but you came up short every time, and you blame everybody but yourself for losing. The truth is, Chad, you can't get the job done. And the crowd is like, oh, and Chad looks very insulted by this. And Gable basically was just like, man, like, this is none of your business. He said it was time for Otis' discipline, and he was about to whip him, but Zayn yanks the belt away. Otis stands in between Gable and Sami, essentially to protect Chad Gable. And the crowd is disappointed and they're booing. And Zayn said, he's like, what are you doing? How much more crap are you going to take, Otis? Come on, Otis. Wake up, Otis. Listen to the fans. Listen to the people. And he tells me, he said, I told you last week, Otis. Stop listening to him and start listening to them. Listen to your heart, Otis. So he's being so impassioned. This is giving you shades of last year's stuff with the bloodline. Sammy's really getting into this. He's really sinking his teeth into this role. He's trying to motivate Otis into liberating himself, into emancipating himself from Chad Gable. And Otis was really conflicted. He didn't know what to do. And the crowd is like, let's go, Otis. Let's go, Otis. And Zayn is giving Otis words of encouragement. But while Sammy's basically giving him a talk no jutsu, Chad Gable punches Sami in the face. He decks him. And he's ground and pounding and punching him. Otis pulls Chad Gable off of Sami Zayn. Holy shit. Zayn is looking at Otis and he's like, what are you doing? What are you doing, man? And he's talking to him. But right as that happens, Chad Gable grabs Sami from behind and German suplexes him. And the crowd chants, let's go, Otis. Let's go, Otis. And at this point, the building is rumbling. They're absolutely rumbling. They want this. They want this turn right now. They want it so badly, so badly. And Otis, he thought about it, but ultimately he decided against it. Chad Gable left the ring with Tozawa. Otis waited in the ring with Zayn for a moment. Gable calls him, and Otis follows suit. He does not turn on Chad Gable. He remains with the Alpha Academy for now. What did you think of the segment, Rob?
I absolutely loved this segment. I think it brought me back to like the old days when I was a kid, when CM Punk, when fucking Husky Harris lost something. I don't remember what it was he lost. I think two of them lost the tag team titles. It's basically what happened, and then I think it was either Punk or Wade Barrett that was like, "All right, you're gonna whip him." We're gonna teach them a lesson by whipping them, and that's exactly what Chad Gable was going for. I liked where Sami Zayn basically came out and tried to appeal to Otis and basically be like, "Look, these people care about you more than Gable actually cares about you, because Gable used to care about you, but it seems like the only thing he cares about now is holding the Intercontinental Championship." So where they go from here is interesting. As I pointed out earlier in the show, the Creeds are losing still. So maybe I don't know where we go from here. I really can't tell where we go from here.
I mean, we know what the destination is. The question is how long they're gonna wait to do it. I would have hoped that. Here's what I'll say. I would like them to. I hope that they don't milk it though. Like the crowd is very into this. They want Otis to turn already, right? I have a feeling that they're gonna skip Clash of the Castle and like maybe Otis's turn. I feel like they're gonna milk this for 2 more weeks. Is kind of what I'm getting at here. Um, I wish not, because the thing is, like, the teases are so strong and so hot in the building that, like, they're probably gonna do the old school WWE philosophy of like, oh, you gotta milk that, you gotta milk that. But you don't want to run the risk of the crowd not caring either. Sometimes just pull the trigger. So, um, yeah, I hope this doesn't milk too much further. But I thought this was a really strong segment. The last strong segment on the show. So that was that. And following this, Rob, uh, we were backstage with Shane and Zoe. They basically invited the tag champs to Raw to come meet them. Sonya Deville showed up and wondered why they were talking to like champions already. Deville said that they could become champions with her help. They blew her off. Baszler told her to walk away before she put her on the shelf again. Isla Dawn and Alba Fire showed up to issue a warning. So, anyways, next week at Raw. Raw's in Hershey, Pennsylvania next week. Sheamus versus Ludwig Kaiser. Rey Mysterio versus Damian Priest. New Day versus AOP. So, some good matches. Main event, Liv Morgan, Becky Lynch, 13 minutes, steel cage. We talked about this at the top of the show. If in case you missed it, I thought the match was embarrassing. Wasn't good. One of the worst Becky Lynch performances she's had in a long time. Liv Morgan just was not up to snuff, and she just did not deliver on her end. And they just had a bad, non-heated match with a silly finish and a silly angle. And yeah, that's just all there is to it. We spoke about it extensively at the top of the show, but this sucked. And the ending sucked. And it was stupid. And escape the cage is just a bad rule. It's just a bad stipulation. I don't want to see babyfaces trying to run out of the cage. I want to see babyfaces trying to beat the fucking shit out of the heel that they're in the ring with. So, yeah, this was dumb. The other thing is, like, Liv Morgan said at the start of the show, like, I know she's a heel and heels lie, but she said, I want to prove that I could beat Becky straight up. And then she didn't beat Becky straight up. She ran out of a cage after a fucking Looney Tunes accident happened to Becky. So, for now, this is Becky's last WWE match. Her deal is expiring on June 1st. She tweeted to be continued. It should be noted that WWE retweeted this post. And it should also be noted that PW Insider essentially said that Becky Lynch didn't tell WWE or anyone that like she's going to AEW imminently. Sean Ross believes that this time next week, Becky Lynch will have major offers from both companies. The belief from WWE is that Becky's just taking a break. So we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening there. I don't know. What do you think, Rob?
I like I said, like I agree with you in the fact that I did not enjoy this. Um, I just don't know where we go from here. Same shit I said earlier. Becky, I'm just thinking about what happens with Becky, bro. That's all. That's all that's on my mind at this point. What happens with Becky?
Yep. 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 Yep.
Like,
Yep.
where
Yep.
does she leave? Does she stay? Because people think, oh, because her Seth signing doesn't always the one spouse signing doesn't always mean the other spouse is gonna resign or sign back as well. It doesn't. That's not what that means. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm leaning towards it being a re-signing, but the fact that it got this late in the game is interesting. I guess we'll just see what happens. We'll see what happens here. But regarding this match and the main event and everything, I apologize for the background noise, but like I said on Twitter, man, save me, EO Sky. You know, save me, please save me, EO Sky. But that was raw. That was raw. So, guys, get your last super chats in. This is your last opportunity to get them in, get them out of the way. We'll read your perspectives and opinions now and answer any questions you guys have for us. So, roll them in now. Let's go through them, Rob.
All righty.
And remember that we there were like a few that we saved earlier as well. There's like 4 from earlier.
All right, Kale, 50 Mexican pesos. I wouldn't stand. I wouldn't make this about merch sales or even stands. I think this is ultimately just set just to set someone who Rhea can kill en route to Bianca. Yes, that's exactly because I wanted Rhea to hold the belt for another year and then lose it to Bianca at WrestleMania. That's where I thought they were going. But if this is a vehicle to come back and have Rhea Ripley basically squash Liv Morgan so that she can get her belt back,
The
I have
thing
no
is, I
problem.
think it's going to be more than a squash. Like the fact that Dominik is a huge part of it means that this is going to be like a big like
Mhm.
summer program with like a lot of that type of stuff. If it was just she injured Rhea and she's holding the belt and like Rhea's going to come back, kick her ass, and get it back. Like that's what happened with Owen Hart. Owen Hart broke Steve Austin's neck. He won the IC title. Austin came back around Survivor Series '97, beat his ass, and won the IC belt back. And like if it was that type of deal, I feel like there'd be much less detail to the storyline. There's so much detail right now with Liv being entrenched in the Judgment Day stuff, to where that would suggest to me that like they'll get like a pretty like detailed build and setup for it. Now ultimately, if Rhea still simply beats her and moves on, and her the next issue is just her dealing with Dom, then that's fine. But I feel like this is going to be a big saga. Uh, Personally, again, I would rather, and they did tease this. To be fair, they did tease this. I'd rather just see EO and Rhea Ripley go back and forth. You know. Uh, Also, I think we may have to look into transitioning her babyface because who are the current active baby faces on Raw in the women's division that are like pushed to the main event level? It's just like Lyra. So yeah, we'll see what
And we've
happens.
seen lore between Lyra and Rhea before, so if Becky leaves, then you know.
Right, right.
All right. Some Ganda Chanko, 35 Czar. My favorite Raw review show. Bron Breakker is becoming an attraction on Raw quickly.
Yep.
Let's fucking go. I think 2 singles matches instead of a triple threat is the move.
I guess he's talking about Braun versus Ricochet, Braun versus Ilya. You could do either or, in my opinion. What I do know is I'd like Braun versus one of them at least on Clash of the Castle. I'd really like that. I'd
Braun
appreciate it.
versus Ilya should be at the Clash of the Castle, and it should not just be a 8 minute Braun is sprint, but Braun is just too strong. I think they should have not the exact same, but they should have the level of matches that they were having in NXT.
I was gonna say people don't remember it, or maybe they do. They had a match in NXT last year that was fucking sensational.
They had a 3-way
It
with fucking McDonagh that was amazing.
That was fantastic too, for sure. But like heel Braun in this current role versus Dragonov happened last year, and that match was really, really, really good. So I'd love to see that again.
All right. Next super chat. Will Chisholm $5. I get Triple H wants to. I get Triple H wants to babyface himself, but he doesn't need to listen to all the fan bases.
He really doesn't. He really doesn't.
He does not. He does not.
He really doesn't.
Thank you for the super chat, Will Chisholm. Jumanji Hunter, $2. If no EO Gunther matches next week, I'm tweaking. No,
I do think it's worth noting that a lot of these recent Raws, part of what was helping them was you got a long Gunther match and a long EO match on those broadcasts, and that does help a lot. Those two are two of the best wrestlers in the company. I think they should find a way to slip that formula in more weeks than not. Just find a way, find an excuse to do EO and Gunther wrestling on most of these Raws.
No, absolutely. Thank you for the super chat, Jumanji Hunter. Another $2 from Jumanji Hunter. Cheap ass $1 billion company got $50 crowns. I'm crying.
That's pretty funny.
No, that's kind of crazy. Will Chisholm $5. I think we see how good
Kairi
is if WWE send her to Marigold to work some matches.
We'll find out.
We will definitely find out. Thank you for the super chat, Jumanji Hunter, $2. Liv should have concertoed Becky to get her heat.
That's the thing, is like they could have executed this in so many different ways that would have been more effective. If Liv just straight up, I honestly would not have minded if Liv just dominated her, destroyed her, and then like fucking wrote her off with a beat down, like just something more emphatic,
or Pillmanized her or something.
Just something more emphatic, something with more conviction. I would have respected. What we got was a shitty 50-50 boring wrestling match with an ineffective angle to close it and a bad ending to the match. So if Liv just she just beat her concisely and then just killed her, I would have respected it. And I'm like not a big Liv fan, but I would have been like, all right, that's effective. That is effective. So yeah.
All right. Thank you for the super chat. Vernacular 199. Dom might save Liv from an all-time stinker run.
It really is going to be on him because you can't, it's going to be.
I don't think that's the problem. Her matches should not have to revolve around Judgment Day doing House of Torture style bullshit. It should not have to revolve around that.
Yeah, but we're in a position.
That's the
now
same shit that we used to get Dom over.
Yeah, Dom's an effective TV character though, so this act is going to be reliant on him to make it work.
Brother. Thank you for the super chat. Nicholas 763 499. It really seems that Liv takes over Judgment Day, or she's about to, but Damien does not let it happen, and Liv causes the downfall.
I do think, to make a really, really old reference, I do think Liv's going to be the Yoko Ono of this group. She's going to break the band up. So, yeah, I think she's going to be the catalyst that causes the downfall of the Judgment Day.
Alrighty, and the last super chat, Black Yakuzu 94, $5. It feels like Triple H can't do pay-per-view follow-ups very well. This was a very mid episode, but that's exactly how NXT was booked too. So I can't complain. Yes, NXT, the way NXT was done was after every takeover, they would the episode after was basically a recap show with like a couple debuts or in front of like the NXT pay-per-view audience. But then the next episode was where shit really got going and they really started trying to tell stories.
Yeah, it's always a weird formula to me. Like because to me, like I like the show after the pay-per-view to be like the big explosive one that, you know what I mean, has the big moments and the big angles and this and that. But Triple H very much is like it's almost like a cool down thing, and especially they're coming back from Saudi. It's almost like everybody's just fucking jet lagged. So I don't know.
Definitely. And that is the last super chat that we have for today.
Awesome. Okay, so that was the Raw review. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Appreciate you guys for just continuing to just be a very engaged and understanding audience. And again, like I said at the top of the show, I can only be honest with you guys. You know what I mean? I can only be honest with you guys. What I appreciate about this podcast is that, you know, it's tough on Twitter sometimes to actually be nuanced and stuff when I critique things or whatever. But here I can at least explain myself to the best of my abilities, and it's an environment where I'm able to do that successfully. So I appreciate you guys. I thought this was a pretty good review, and thank you for supporting. So if you like the video, please like it. If you have not already, subscribe, send super chats, leave comments, comment whatever you want to comment. Give us your opinions. And for Rob, I'm Ewu Wrestle Purist, and I'll see you guys next time.